I'm dead.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, a child shall lead them. That's a pretty cool effect right there. I'm not going to lie to you, dear listener. It's a pretty cool effect. Huh? What you want?
I thought you were in here, like, taking care of stuff. I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I look and I thought we were doing that one song. Turns out we're doing a whole stream.
Oh, I didn't understand. I thought that's what... We can do what we want.
Yeah, I agree. After what we just put up on the thing for us all to see. Alrighty, dear listener, we're back again with another one of these. I don't know. I like that, like, We're back again. You don't like the light?
I don't, but
All right. Well, sorry doesn't like the light. You know how that's gonna go, fellas. All right, dear listener. Here we go. We got a whole. We got Dwayne in the house. We got Jay in the house. We got a lot of people in the house.
What's up, everybody?
All right, let's get right to it. Song number one. Song number one. Where
Right here.
is Chris Cornell? One?
Yep.
Chris Cornell has a song called, this is for
Zoe Lowe.
Zoe Lowe. Okay, Chris Cornell won by the big homie Zoe Lowe. Let's check it out. This is for Big Zoe. Let's check it out. Chris Cornell, let's go.
Recording of my daughter saying, "Will you stop?" I used to play it for everyone. I was so proud of it. Listen, will you stop? Parents are weird that way. Like they get proud of it when their kids like do something annoying like that. Did you hear that? It was awesome. This is one of the things I did. I stumbled across the chords to a song called "One" by a band called U2, which is a beautiful song.
Oh, it's a cover.
Okay.
But I didn't know the words, so I Googled the words and I just put in "One" lyrics, enter, clicked on the first thing that came up, and apparently the most Googled version of a song called "One" is a band called Metallica, and then a song called
Okay.
They're gonna he's gonna cover
the first one that comes
One
out. So this is what that sounds
to
like.
the tune of U2. This is so smart. Okay, so U2 did a song called One, and they're doing the
Metallica did
music
too.
for it, but the lyrics for Metallica's One.
Yeah.
Can't remember everything. Is this true or just a dream? Down inside I feel to scream, but a terrible silence is stopping me. Screw with me. Waking up
talent, man.
Yeah.
What a talent.
To take all those and put them together to create that. He
Yeah,
has a beautiful voice.
He stuck pretty much with Metallica. He did kind of deviate a little bit, and then there were times when he like instead of saying imprisoning, he says darkness surrounds me instead of darkness imprisoning me.
Yeah.
It's just such a. I'm listening to guys talk about Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's your guy, and they're like, Lamar, you know, if he wins this Sunday or Saturday, whatever, he'll be closing the gap with Mahomes. I'm like, what are you talking about? I hate Kansas City. I can't stand their fans. I think they're the worst, some of the worst human beings, literally, like on terra firma for sure. But aside from Tom Brady, who's the god of that position, Patrick Mahomes is miles. I don't care if Lamar Jackson wins 36-2 on Saturday. What he has accomplished in this short period of time is miles ahead of anybody. Mahomes. When you're talking about bands like Metallica or vocalists like Chris Cornell or even U2, which we don't play a lot of U2 on this channel because we're a metal channel. A lot of people would probably say we don't play Metallica on this channel much either for the same reason. These guys are orders of magnitude beyond everybody else. That song, Notorious Thugs from Biggie, you know, with the one he did with Bone Thugs. 2 or 3 years ago, Fast and the Furious came out with their 57 millionth iteration of the same movie, and he was featured on that soundtrack. My point is, these people, this is timeless music.
Yeah, I was gonna say, never ages.
Like, how many songs can you pull out of 30, 40 years ago? I don't know how old one is. How many songs can you pull out from 30, 40 years ago and it be the best song in the genre if it were to come out today? You know, the way that music evolves and all the rest of it. Just what... And that particular song from Metallica, and the thing about Metallica is that they kept doing it over and over again. People say whatever you want, but they had a run where you had Ride the Lightning, then you had, you know, I think it was Puppets after that, then you had Justice, and you had Blackout. I mean, them boys, you know, I mean, obviously started with Kill 'Em All, but they got progressively better. They got more complex. They got more original. I mean, they were just crazy. And then for Chris Cornell, who to me is a top 3 vocalist, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a singer, so I don't know, like, the intricacies. Maybe he's not a top 3 vocalist. But to me, he is, because if there was anybody that could screw around with that arrangement and get away with it, I feel like this is the only guy that would be able to make that happen.
And his voice is like, it's emotional sounding, and then I think to myself, wait, he's not even with us anymore. And then I'm like, is that why I feel emotional when I'm hearing it? But I think that his voice just kind of carries like this. I'm
sorry. Dwayne said that Baker Mayfield was better than both Mahomes and Jackson. I just started laughing because Baker Mayfield is like 0.5 better than me compared to Lamar and those guys. Baker's on like his 19th team right now. Go ahead.
He's not the one that came off the couch then, or is he? Oh, okay. Yeah. So his voice is just like it carries like such emotion to it.
I will say Baker is so bad that the team that pulled the quarterback off the couch had him and sent him off and said, "We'd rather go with a quarterback on the couch than you." That was disrespectful, though, because Baker was playing with a torn, you know, labrum and all the rest of it. He was a real gangster. I'm happy for him. He's going to get his $100 million. Don't worry. Go ahead. Continue.
I was just saying, I think that his voice carries with it, like, this emotional sort of sound that it was, like, calming, but Yeah, I don't know. I like the notes that he hits and the way that he hits them. He has a very, very beautiful voice. And I think the concept of doing this, taking a song and then a sound, but you're saying it didn't really sound like the U2 one? Just a little bit it did?
Well, the music side of it and the cadence was completely the U2 song.
Oh, okay.
But the lyrics were Hetfield.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what the plan was. What are we pulling up the lyrics, or are we already saying we broke them down?
We've already broke down
Yeah.
the song one.
Right.
It's about a guy in war and he stepped on a landmine and he.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to know like what it was about.
Yo, mad people hating on the vocal styles of Bono, bro. Bono Vox? Did he put Vox in his real name? Like
who's it?
Bono's a vocalist for U2.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that vocalist is really a good vocalist or if he's just his lyrics are so meaningful. You know what I'm saying? That people. It's kind of like dude from Pumpkins. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Like not a very good singer, but the things that he's singing about are so deep and meaningful, and the music around him is so beautiful that you kind of don't notice that Billy Corgan has a terrible voice.
Mm-hmm. I don't.
Tonight!
I was like playing it in my head too. I was like, I think you're right. I don't know.
His real name is Paul David Houston, subhanAllah. I remember when I was a Korn fan, and I didn't know anybody in the band at all.
Yeah.
So I opened the thing up, and it says singer Jonathan Davis. I'm like, Davis?
Oh.
John, you got Head, you got Monkey, you got Fieldy, and you have Jonathan Davis. Even like David Silveria.
Yeah.
You know, Jonathan Davis. I was like,
why did you make that decision? Do you know?
I mean, that's his name.
Well, I know, but all of it. Head's name isn't Head. Like his monkey's name's not Monkey.
Yeah.
Like what made him decide to go with like his actual name?
Him and David never had nicknames. Those are names that other people give you. You know what I'm saying? It's like your call sign in the military. Like you don't give yourself that. Other people start calling you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Bono is a killer vocalist. That's silly. Yeah, their new music is subpar, but they released 2 of the greatest rock albums. Well, I don't know. I don't know if we're really saying Bono's a terrible singer or if the material, you know what I'm saying? The current material is kind of substandard or whatnot. The other thing too is that Hell is a fan of Amy Lee, who I don't think live there's a better live vocalist. So if you're comparing Bono to Amy Lee, forget it. Yeah. Because I saw that shit firsthand.
Unbelievable.
I also heard her in a back somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, if you're comparing Bono's vocal ability to her, forget it.
I do not think that there's a difference between her, like, studio recording and her live. Like, when you're up there with her, like, they're...
completely indiscernible.
Nope. I don't believe she has a mic that, like, tweaks her voice.
That's why the guitarist is just standing there. You just kind of there, bro.
You just some kind of side piece.
I'm like, come on, man. This is all like bar chord stuff, bro. You should be jumping all over the stage. You out there with Amy Lee. What you on? Shit, man. That was me, man. I'd be all, yeah, but that dude, like, you saw him, man. He looked like he was bored, like he didn't want to be there. I'm like, bruh. Yeah, but this song is great. I mean, it's a silent count for me. Obviously, rest in peace to the big homie Chris Cornell. Like I said, he changed some of the words. Like at the end, it says, "Please God, wake me," and he changed that to "Please God, take me."
Mm-hmm. That was kind of crazy.
Which is obviously a bit prophetic.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the coolest conversations I had with Jesus was him telling me to redefine what I think prayer is, you know? Because a lot of us think about prayer as this, you know, what you do before dinner, or what you do before you go to bed, or what you do before you're going to go into a bad situation. But, like, and I do obviously believe there's a place for formalized ritual prayer. But, these songs, and it's funny, I was reading a John Piper article. It says, take courage, you pray more than you realize. And he was talking about when you're in worship, a lot of the worship music we listen to are actually just prayers set to music. And so then I thought to myself, well, then why does it have to be quote unquote the Christian genre of music? If you're saying that what I'm reading in the Psalms, when David is saying, how long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? My tears are like my bread, or whatever. Then why is it when James Hetfield is saying, please God help me, and he's incarnating as a soldier in this horrible situation? Or why is it when Chris Cornell says, please God take me, or the Like a Stone song, which why is that not a prayer? So does he have to say it in a church, and does his hands have to be like this? And does he have to start and speaking Elizabethan English? Or is it one heart crying out to its creator and saying, all of this shit is fucked up right now? And does God count that as a prayer? Like you were talking yesterday about some dude you were praying for, but you were not praying for him like technically the way like it's supposed to be done.
I was sweeping the floor.
Yeah. I think that whole. I think Chris Cornell is a deeply spiritual person, actually, and he was in a lot of pain that only he knew. It's like that scripture says that when people go to the temple, they were each carrying their own troubles or whatever that only they know. And Solomon said, "Hear, O Lord, from your temple and heal these people." So I don't know, man. It's a prayer, and I think a lot of you guys like the music that you listen to, especially when you're in a really bad place. A lot of that is you going into your prayer time, and it does count. You don't have to be doing this for the thing to be prayer. I mean, a lot of times, if I'm crying about some shit, God will tell me, if you aim your tears Godward, that counts as a prayer.
100%.
So
it's intentionality. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I have a theory about Chris and Chester's death and connection. Yeah, I mean, those two seem to be well, they are obviously deeply connected with each other. Chester left, I think within the year that Chris Cornell did.
I think it was
like 6 months. It was like 6 months or something like that. So that's a pretty interesting thing. I'm curious to see. Hell, was it the same conspiracy theory on the Joe Rogan podcast? We'll probably talk about it later, but there was a conspiracy theory that one of Joe Rogan's friends wanted to talk about, but Chester had just recently died, or it was the anniversary or something, and Joe, I think, rightly shut it down. I don't think those are appropriate conversations for the public at large, but I'm definitely going to be hitting you up later.
Interesting. Yeah.
All right. This is a silent count for me.
Yeah. I loved this one. This is a 9.8 for me.
As if I listen to his podcast. Listen, you should. He's got Diana Walsh Pasulka on there. That show just dropped today. I'm so excited. Maybe in season 3, I might just do reaction videos to the shit that I've been watching. Because it comes out, like, you guys know, whatever I'm reading or studying, it's going to come out in the song, in the music. But yeah, I cannot wait. After this, we're going to do Fortnite and Pasulka. It's going to be fun. Okay. We've got a commercial break. We are coming right back, and we've got a band that you have never heard before on the way. You're going to have to stick around to find out who and what it is. Vin and Sorry in this bitch. We see you on this. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy merch, you need to also lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. This band is one of my favorite bands of all time, actually. This band, the bassist or the former bassist, is one of the greatest bassists of all time. And I'm just a big giant fan of this band. And I'm not gonna tell y'all why. But they know. All right. Here it is. I listened to the Joe Rogan interview with Diana Walsh Pasolko today. It was fascinating. Yeah, dude.
Oh,
she is
wait.
crazy good. Crazy good. I do have a pain, but it's in my blood family. Unfortunately, I don't have any nerves for anybody else. All right, here we go. Song numero dos, Borknagar, Winter Thrice. Let's do this shit.
Let's
Shout out to the
do
big
it.
homie Jet. Jette, Jet. Let's go. seeing the Metallica correlation there. Somebody asked about Metallica. I didn't really see Metallica there. Their vocalist, I mean, they've changed vocalists throughout the years, but the one that was in the car for about a year and a half, they've always, at least from the record that I was listening to, they were always more clean as a black metal band. Like T-Boz told me that they were like a black metal band, but they were like mega clean, and they've always kind of been clean with that vocal style. It got a little, Cookie Monster-ish toward the end, but it looked. The other thing about this band is they talk about nature a lot. Like that record, like the whole thing was about nature from start to finish. That and Pink Floyd.
Yep.
That dominated for about 2 years.
Yep,
Just those two
Yep.
records were dominating. Shout out to the big homie T-Boz. So they're really big on nature, which is really interesting. Prior to listening to metal, I'd have been like, really, people are making songs about nature? I mean, come on. Really, we're making songs about trees? But the shit is crazy. Like, once you enter into the music and you get it, like, inshallah, a year from now, if we listen to a song like this, we'll be able to say, oh, yeah, remember when we used to live in that horrible place and all that cold weather and shit?
Right.
Yes, it was Borknagar, correct.
I like music that sings about nature because I've always found nature to be extremely poetic.
Pagan.
No, I believe that the pagans are like we're supposed to be.
Oh, low key you. Okay.
Okay, some of it I of course didn't catch all the lyrics, but were we only singing about nature, or were we talking about like the devastation of everything when only nature is left?
Yeah, it looked to me like one of those things where it's like nature was here before you, nature will be here after.
Yeah.
Type deal.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was something where we no longer were here, and it was just the horizons and nature left.
Which sitting there listening to Lord of Spirits, and just a crazy idea that people had to be taught to see the color blue. Like, did you hear that part, or did you fall asleep?
I think I fell asleep.
Yeah, like. He's talking about like Columbus describing the peaceful Burgundy ocean.
Yeah, and compared it to wine because I was like, well, maybe they called Burgundy blue. Maybe it's a word issue.
Like in Islam.
But then he said like wine, and so I was like, oh,
white means yellow, and then what we would call white, they would call red. So, but that's not like colors. That's race type thing. So they're kind of close, but not necessarily there. But it I forgot who I was listening to yesterday where he said, people are becoming more and more comfortable with saying, look, everything, like Eric Weinstein is his name. He was on Joe Rogan as well. Didn't really understand 75% of what he's saying. Like when these quantum people, all these people show up, like people have to realize that when you're talking at Joe Rogan's level, they're dumbing that shit down by like 5 million. And this dude was like speaking in such a way, like you could tell that he really thought he was dumbing the shit down.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about.
It's like if I were to, if I was to be like, nobody heard of this premillennial dispensationalism stuff for 250 years. And people say, well, premillennialism has been there. Well, yeah, obviously, Killyism was a thing at the beginning of the church. Blah, blah, blah. I think I'm simplifying this shit. No, you're not. What's Killyism?
The thing, when I'm listening to them too, there's like a part of my brain that is like, whoa, that makes so much sense what that guy is saying. And then there's like 8 other parts of my brain that are like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. The idea of blue is a relatively new concept. Basically, just the Egyptians used it during the Middle Period, and that was pretty much it. So how did the Egyptians...
What do you mean? The sky has always been blue, right? I mean, what are we talking about here?
No, people's perceptive abilities. They saw the sky as white. They didn't see blue.
So they didn't see clouds?
They saw the sky as white. They saw the...
So they didn't see clouds?
No. No, it just seemed to be a big blend of them, and they had to be taught to see blue. Shit is incredible. But,
so bizarre.
But I mean, that just goes to show that a lot of this shit, all of it really is just the projections of our minds, man. Like, there is no such thing as the color blue. Everything in space is just nothingness.
Did that have anything to do with that dress fight that everybody had?
Well, no. I mean, I mean, this was hundreds and hundreds of
Oh
years.
yeah, I know, but I
before
didn't know
that,
if there
right?
was some like
But it's the same.
connection
But it's
between.
yeah, it's the same principle. Our perceptive abilities. We are not seeing the world as it actually is, or as concept, the thing in itself. We're not seeing the thing in itself, and even colors, we're not seeing the thing in itself. The colors function in the world pretty much like colors function in Fortnite. They're indicators that tell you that this is something you should pay attention to. So if I'm just going through green, 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 and then I see a gold thing, it catches my eye. That is the purpose of colors. That's it. But they're not actually there. They're not actually real. Well, we talked about this last year. I said there's really no such thing as colors. And so I was talking with my atheist friends, and I said, you know, were you there for the Big Bang? He said, no. And I said, now how do you know the Big Bang happened? He's like, well, redshift and radiation and blah, 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 blah. It's like, and he really believed that that was empirical data that demonstrated that the Big Bang hypothesis was true. Like he really believed that was conclusive. And the bigger thing about that was he truly was trying to argue that he believed in the Big Bang based on evidence and not on faith.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, how does this? Yeah.
And it just gets to the point. Even people were like,
Yeah.
yeah, you basically have faith in the Big Bang. You don't have access to any of the measurements. And even when you're talking about redshift and all that shit, like you're taking what these people say as factual. You haven't measured those instruments themselves. You don't even have the ability to criticize those people. Neither do I. I'm just taking by faith what they're saying is true. And half the time, those motherfuckers are wrong.
There's a lot of faith going around.
I mean, hell, if you were following... Anyway, the groaning, moaning sound of this frost, a blinding eternal blizzard, seasoned, aligned, and now under the sign of a crisp, eternal winter. Yeah, you know, people talk about nuclear winter after we like destroy everything.
Yeah.
I always used to be confused. I'm like, okay, so we're worried about the global warming on one side and a nuclear winter on the other side. Like, we can't just be in the middle.
Wait, when they say nuclear winter, they mean like the ice age, or they talk? You know what I thought it was? I thought it was ash covering everything, and that was what they called a nuclear winter. Like it would be white, but it's not like white. You know what I mean?
Vin, why are they your atheist friends? Can't they just be your friends? Racist? Only black person would say colors aren't real. Come on, man.
Oh no.
Come on. Isn't that what he does? Come on, man. Yeah, so it looks like the nature is gonna, nature's gonna inherit the earth. Obviously I don't believe that. I don't believe that nature is going to inherit the universe, but I do think one of the questions that the song doesn't ask is what is the logos that's keeping these concepts in tension so that 500 years from now we still believe that the law of gravity will be applicable. Like what's the logos? So the law of gravity, right? Like what goes up must comes down. You know, basics in Newtonian physics. Why is that law going to be applicable 500 days from now?
Well,
see, that's the question. It's technical terms called induction. You can check Bernard philosophy-wise for that. But he asked a question of why is the law of gravity a constant and why will it be like that tomorrow? Why will the sun rise in the east and set in the west tomorrow? What is the regulating principle that makes this vast universe run in this predictable fashion? That was a major Bertrand Russell, major problem for Bertrand Russell, as well as a bunch of other secular philosophers. And Russell said, don't give me no bullshit answers either. And to this day, it hasn't been answered. Because there is no secular way to answer that question.
Right. I was going to say, I mean, we have an answer.
Yeah.
The first chapter will tell you.
Now, I was listening to Weinstein, and they were talking about this, the constants like time, gravity, things of that nature. And Weinstein was trying to argue that gravity is itself the observer. And so that's how you kind of get out of the Schrodinger's cat situation.
Shoot, I don't know what you mean.
In other words,
gravity
like the
itself is the
particle
observer?
particle isn't there unless you're
Yeah.
looking at it. The moon isn't there unless you're really looking at it. You
They're
know,
saying
all of this.
gravity is? So they personified it? Or?
Well, exactly. Well, what he did was he applied consciousness to gravity.
Yeah.
So that gravity could be an observer, so that you don't necessarily need. But if you apply consciousness to gravity and you make this the ultimate super force that's governing everything, I still don't understand the difference between that and God.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Well, I think the difference is that gravity doesn't require anything of you. It's just what goes up must come down. It's not like God. People understand that to believe in God is to follow His laws and His decrees and the way that He says that the stuff goes. But gravity doesn't really say a whole lot to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People love it.
It's
personally.
accountability.
If that's what we're seeing right now in our culture, right? Like if people have to concede that there's some sort of like order of being that's above us, that's influencing this world, but they don't want to personalize it, because the minute you personalize it, you have to answer to that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the universe will do X, Y, and Z thing. Like you're not gonna have to stand before the universe and give an account for your actions. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we will have a God as long as that God is impersonal and doesn't tell us actually how to live.
I think the other thing too, like with the universe discussion, is I think it's easy to appease the universe. If you're like, there's so many people doing such horrible things, like in that environment, you can compare yourself to somebody else and come out on top.
You can be the gray man and get away with it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Borknagar. This one is gonna get a solid 9 from me.
Yeah. This one is an 8.4 for me. Can you pull it up so I can just say who that song was for?
Wasn't it for?
Because they got the song themselves.
What do you mean they got the song themselves?
Well, it was right there. I just want to shout out the person that bought it. Oh yeah, Timothy. That's right. Shout out to Timothy who got this song. So this one's for you.
That was for you, Tim Trice.
I
We will
wasn't gonna
see
say
you,
his
beautiful
last
people.
name, but you did.
On the other side of the commercial break, we'll go. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Ben-and-Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch. Yeah.
Yes, dear
Amy,
listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
I actually got this because, well, first of all, I liked it, just generally. But it also reminded me of a skin on Fortnite where she wears one of these. And it, like, it fits almost exactly like it.
That girl.
Yeah. And it's super comfortable. I got it at Walmart. It's a Walmart find, but it wasn't in the state of Maine. Anyway,
you might have heard of this band, or maybe the vocalist in this band
perhaps,
back in the day.
maybe.
It's called A Perfect Circle. I don't know if you've heard of it
familiar or
before.
not. The name of the song is So Long and Thanks for All the Fish.
Oh, that's the name of the song. That's a quote from.
Oh, it is?
It's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the dolphin.
Oh.
Because like
humans were like the third smartest people on the planet. It was dolphins, rats were smarter than humans.
Rats?
Yeah, it was rats or something like it was dolphins. I know it was dolphins, but anyway, like they know the world's gonna get destroyed or whatnot, and so like the dolphins, like, yo, I'm out of here because they're smart. They figured out the world's gonna get destroyed. So before the dolphin, I don't know, before the dolphin went up, he's like, yo, thanks for all the fish. But we out of here. So we out of this bitch.
Oh, okay.
So this song is probably about the destruction of the earth or whatever. Spoiler!
Once again.
Oh, it was mice. It was mice.
Mice?
It was mice.
Okay.
So it was
dolphins
and mice. Yeah. Yeah. Lab rats, lab mice. Yeah.
We'd be in so much trouble.
What happened?
We'd be in so much trouble.
If you what?
If it turned out the mice were like smarter than us and kind of could take over, because we've done a lot of shit to mice and rats.
I think they are smarter than us, though. I'm not sure.
Well, they're just...
I mean, octopus, for example, like, are really super intelligent.
Thank you, Hal.
The Earth is a supercomputer, and the mice are operating it.
Ugh.
Look at this. Vin could
Dwayne,
use a little sprucing up.
Dwayne is jelly. He's jelly because you're looking so good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. All right, perfect circle. So long, and thanks for all the fish. You guys are looking at the official lyric video. We are looking at the real video.
Oh, and this is for who?
The fascists. I'm not going to say who it's for. The fascists over at Maynard's record label will block us. So here we go. So long, thanks for all the fish. Lyric video. Let's do this shit. We're going to watch a real video on the other side. Let's go. White lady shopping.
Bravissimo, hip hip, hooray! What a glorious display! Melt our joyous hearts away under the mushroom cloud confetti. A hip hip hooray! For this fireworks display.
it shows the last thing is a nuclear
explosion that
event, and you see people's faces
melting off.
all that jazz.
Wow. That
was a perfect circle. Is he naming all those celebrities that died? Ali and Leia, Marilyn Monroe. That'd be Muhammad Ali and Princess Leia died. I forgot. Carrie Fisher, I think, is her name. That's the wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's the wrong set of lyrics. Okay. What's
Okay,
the
so
song? Yeah, perfect song.
thanks for all the fish.
Okay.
This is for the big homie Fabrice. But yeah, this one was. Sometimes I get like in those modes where I just start thinking about like when we on fancy water, like spending money on fancy water, and I like my Poland Spring water. I don't like drinking from the tap. And I was thinking, like, during this, I'm not saying that I'm going to make a policy change in this moment, but I was like, imagine if instead of drinking the Poland Spring, you just drank from the tap, and then all that money that was for that, you went to send water to other people that are drinking whatever. But then I think, well, there are health benefits to not drinking from the tap because we found that the government put stuff in there, you know? So
we ain't fined. I mean, they've said it. I mean, they put fluoride in the water now. Whether you think it's a positive thing or a negative thing, that's the rub. But yeah.
But there is, like, when you think about everything that you see as like physical, well, actually, it's probably the whole like thinking about the physical world. And
I hear you, middle. I'm just not sure because I know that there's a Leia Ali, but. No, her name isn't Leia. It's Layla Ali. Layla. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was. I don't think he was referencing Ali's daughter. But go ahead.
When we're talking about, is this the person that played it on Star Wars? Is that like, or am I?
I'm saying, Carrie Fisher, right?
Oh, okay.
Because one of the themes is he keeps talking about. He says Ali and Leia have moved on, and then he talks about he makes reference to Marilyn Monroe. Then he talks about Prince, like our Prince and Renee's mom. All the Dolphins have moved on. So like when those people die, it's Layla Ali, Laila. I think he's got Leia here, and I think he's referencing Carrie Fisher. And the only reason I'm saying that is because. You're talking about Prince. You're talking about Muhammad Ali, Marilyn Monroe. All these people have died, and then when it talks about like that, it talks about all the dolphins have moved on. And in the story, before the world gets destroyed, dolphins get out of here, and that's why in the video you see these flying dolphins,
and then they become the plane.
And I think the point is that these people's death is kind of signaling. The destruction of humanity. Like all these good people are leaving us. All these people that impacted us are leaving us.
Yeah.
And the rest of us here are left behind into this destruction type of thing. That's kind of the idea.
Okay.
Fun fact. Damn you, Kai.
Yeah, but it depends on where you live.
He's in like Finland.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm buying like the water that I buy comes from Kai's backstream.
Yeah, exactly.
Good night.
Exactly.
Good night. Right, Steve. Leia,
So
however, she is still alive for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it could be Layla Ali. I'm not sure. It really
wouldn't make any sense, though.
It just looks to me that he's saying that these dead people which is really kind of low-key arrogant because it's like, oh, these celebrities died and now that's the harbinger. They're the dolphins that are leaving us, and Maynard happens to be a celebrity. See what I'm saying? So it's a little bit.
Yeah.
He's talking about like, the Kali Yuga, which we're apparently in right now. But he's talking about like, plastic surgery and like how shallow everybody is. But then when he talks about like significant deaths, it's all these, people on TV that did probably get some plastic surgery and like.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher was not like she was not Gandhi. God bless her, but Carrie Fisher, what did she do? She was Princess Leia. That's great. You know what I'm saying? But like, what did she actually do? Same thing with Muhammad Ali. Like, Muhammad Ali, I'll say it was different because he protested the Vietnam War and he paid for it.
Oh, okay.
You know, he said, none of Viet Cong ever called me a nigger. So, I'm not fighting them boys. Smart man for you. Smarter than me. But, yeah, that little piece is ironic to me. Like, oh, when the celebrities die. A person could easily say, though, yeah, but those celebrities are archetypes of something, right? So, like, Marilyn Monroe would be the archetype of, like, the ultimate woman, which, you know, you weren't alive at the time, so people have to settle for Marilyn Monroe. So you got Marilyn Monroe as the ultimate woman. You got Malcolm, Muhammad Ali, who a lot of people would say is the pinnacle of boxing, and I would probably agree with that. And that would make him the pinnacle of masculinity, right?
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. So Marilyn Monroe.
Did they stack those? Did they stack?
Marilyn Monroe would be the pinnacle of femininity, and then Ali could be the epitome of masculinity. And so, in that sense, when those things start to go, then you're in trouble. And then you have Prince, and Prince, you know, he's a musician, he's an artist, and Prince was funny because he was like one of the first like gender bender guys. Like, he would show up, especially from the black community. Like, he'd show up wearing purple and tight and shit, and everybody was always curious about him because his mannerisms and all that shit. So he was kind of like he was kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So, like, you could look at these people as archetypes for stuff, but like, as far as like what they accomplished in the world, like I said, like Ali, like went up against the U.S. government, fine. Prince, you know, he changed music. He was a gifted musician, but I don't believe that Carrie Fisher or Prince did anything significant enough to where their deaths would be the dolphins leaving the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
Yeah, but maybe it has more to do with
anything that significant in my view.
Maybe it's
aside from, you know,
it is,
Ali going up against the government. Go ahead.
It is interesting because we're talking about spending money on apps and all these different things that what do they actually do? It's like kind of wasteful. It kind of seemed like,
right.
But then at the same time, we're talking about these people that you're saying, like, what did she actually accomplish? But at the same time, they were like cultural markers. Like, you know, when like the last person of your family, see that we have different experiences, but like for instance, that Princess Leia character, I agree. I kind of agree with you, Hell. I did know somebody else that had a pretty giant fascination with her as well. But I think that maybe, I mean, it was a cultural thing, and like she was.
Yeah, but
when she dies, like it's like the ending. I mean, Star Wars was a big giant thing, just like Ali was big. Like maybe it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this thing that was like all of us that kind of like brought us all together, that's gone now. So maybe it's something like that.
I don't think you should feel bad for thinking that. I think he did that on purpose.
What?
Prince. He made himself like a question mark on purpose. So you shouldn't feel bad for thinking that. But I don't know, man. Like, I think the celebrity culture is crazy, and Maynard is part of celebrity culture, and so there's a sense in which he cannot think outside of those. Along those lines. Ali at one point was bigger than the Beatles, but Ali actually did something. Like, I like LeBron James, but what has he done? Michael Jordan, same thing. Michael Jordan, like, brilliant, second greatest basketball player of all time. But when it's actually time to step up and do some shit, he's like, well, shit, man, white people buy shoes too. All right, cool, bro. Cool. I'm not mad at you. Go ahead. But I don't know.
Did he say Willy Wonka?
Well, yeah, you know, playtime is over type of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, he does talk a lot about like the nuclear stuff, and you know, the last couple global incidents, if I was not a Christian, would terrify me. Like how quickly rational, intelligent, brilliant people were able to be duped by their government to supporting this Ukraine thing. Like out and out actual Nazis, like out there.
On their
and our government, think about this. Our government found a way to get people who were finding Nazis where there were no Nazis. because anybody in the MAGA hat is a Nazi. They were able to like read the tea leaves and figure out that even though he didn't say he's a Nazi, simultaneous to that, the same group of people, when there were actual Nazis, couldn't see it. And we were fucking with a nuclear power.
Yeah.
And we had experts, literally every expert in the region for decades telling us, this is bad.
Yeah.
This could instigate or catalyze something nuclear. And we went right along with it, man. And like, I'm saying we, because everybody knows my perspective on that situation. And I was right in that situation. I was wrong on a lot of situations, namely Trump and the actual danger that Trump actually proposed. But it's unbelievable to me to like watch, and I'm like, yo, and now we got Israel Palestine, so now we don't care about, you got Biden. Biden's like, y'all got to figure something. Biden told Zelensky, you guys got to figure something out. We ain't giving y'all no more money. It's like, my whole thing about that situation is, I said this was going to end this way, and anybody that did like a cursory 5-minute like review of that situation knew exactly what the fuck was going to end up happening to those poor people. And yet, all these people in complete, John Hirschman, like everybody on any side that was an expert was like, yo, this is going to catalyze something. You got to stop fucking with these Russians, bro. Like, we obviously, and now we've got people talking. I just saw this on Rising a couple days ago where they were talking about how the Russians and the Ukrainians did want to have a deal, and then we came in there and stopped it. The real reason was so that we could destroy Nord Stream 2, so that the Germans would have to be a client state of ours, and now we've got the entire European continent as a client state for us for the next 50 years. Congratulations, Exxon and Chevron.
So if they would
and congratulations, all of you who put the Ukrainian flag, well-meaning people, but that was all there for a proxy war and a money grab for rich people, and you're not going to see a dime of it. But people that were just as poor as you, or people in a worse circumstance than you, are burying hundreds of family members now because we decided we're gonna use them as a target practice. Also, so that we can test out some of our experimental devices that we're going to be using in China in about 5 to 8 years. Yeah, that's all open source. But my point is, like, that Russia-Ukraine exercise should really scare people, because it means that the government can get us to look past what we actually see.
Yep.
And
all
the government,
of us, the Russians and the Ukrainians.
I would tell people, I'm like,
because if the Russians and the Ukrainians got here and they said, "Hey, hold on a second,
we're
working
tried.
this out."
They tried.
Yes, but then we got involved. But if the Ukrainians said, "No, we don't want your shit. Stay out of here."
Google Dennis Kyriv. Dennis Kyriv, at the beginning of this conflict, was working with the Russians to broker a peace deal.
That's right, and then he got killed.
And they executed him in public.
That's right. Who's they?
The Ukrainians.
That's what I'm saying. I said if the Ukrainians and the Russians would have told us to stay out of it.
Joe, at least we're making a ton of money. No, that's oversimplistic.
Is it?
Because not every Ukrainian is a war-loving Nazi.
That's right.
It's a very small. It's but what people don't understand, they go, "Oh, it's a small percentage." That's all you need to hold the country hostage. Because extremists are always willing to do more than what a normal person is willing to do. So they don't need all those numbers. To listen, if there's 500 people in a room and I have a gun and I shoot 2 people, everybody else is going to listen to me. Even though, numerically speaking, you guys have the advantage. So you do not need a country full of Nazis. All you need is enough Nazis to make Zelensky... because he's caught between a rock and a hard place. I don't believe Zelensky's a bad guy. I think he's a coward. I think his cowardice makes him bad. But honestly, they would have killed him and put another puppet in there and kept it moving. These people were kidnapping members of the government, members of the Ukrainian government. I did a Middle America video where a governor in one of the provinces in Ukraine was begging to get his daughter back.
Right, that's what I was saying. The kid,
begging to get his daughter back. I showed that, and so people still. Now, I'm not going to mention names. But
that kid is forever going to be traumatized.
I showed a video of a bunch of teachers at a kindergarten yelling at Ukrainian soldiers for setting up their mortars and shit by the schools.
Yeah.
And the teachers are saying, you know that they're gonna come, they're gonna take out that position, and we got kids here. What the fuck is wrong with you? And literally, I have a person in this room who said that was an acceptable tactic of war.
Oh.
So, like, when I hear that and somebody's saying that to me with a straight face in public, I'm like, man, there's nothing that we can do to avoid a nuclear exchange.
See,
aside from the Lord Jesus and those angels who keep shutting down or aliens who keep shutting down our nuclear sites and shit. This shit is nothing to play with, man. It's nothing to play with. And you know, how do I say this? I think people who have never been in real armed conflicts or even extreme violence, if you have not seen that and taken part in it, you really, really should think twice before you talk about supporting any sort of position. Unless you've been involved in extreme violence, you really ought to think about what you're supporting either way. Because I'm telling you, once certain lines get crossed, man, it's just human psychology, bro. It's just human psychology. All right. So Zero Cobalt's having a moment. Listen, mods, give Zero Cobalt a little bit of grace. We don't know what everybody's coming in, so we don't need to completely ban him, but I do think you need to calm down and slow down, Zero Cobalt. I don't know if you want some attention or something. I mean, you're welcome here, bro, but chill out. If you need attention, I can get you some attention. You just got to relax, man. Yeah, so the song was really important to me because it talked about, you know, the fragility. You know, we take a lot of things for granted. And if people don't understand that, they will understand it soon. I'll say it that way, unfortunately.
Wow.
But there's a lot of shit that we're all taking for granted.
Yep.
And so if we didn't take those if we didn't take those things for granted, then the world would be a lot different. Yep. We would be a lot less quick to just sign off on the deaths of tens of thousands of people. Which anytime you support a war, that is what you're doing. Yeah. You're signing off on the deaths of tens of thousands of people. Okay. So this is a good song. I'm gonna give it a 8.7.
It was an 8 for me. Sonically, it wasn't like super exciting for me. I think the topic was important, but 8, solid 8. Upcoming next is the.
We've got a band you've never heard of before.
So on the other side of this commercial, we'll be right back.
Cobalt. Okay, bro. I'm not. I think something's going on with you. Do you need to talk? Something bothering you, little bro, you need to talk about? I'm being serious. Something bothering you? We'll be on commercial. Take some time to think about it. If you need to talk about something or get something off your chest, buddy, this is a place to do it. Your methodology might be a little bit unorthodox, but if you need some help, bro, you need some friends to talk to you, bro.
Yes.
Let's talk. We'll talk out on the other side of the break, okay? Because there's healthy ways to deal with shit. There's unhealthy ways. Well, I can't give you a notification. I'm just saying, bro, like, I'm going to put you on commercial. I'm going to go to commercial, right? And then we're going to come back, okay? So
type away.
If you need to talk, do whatever you need to do. All I'm saying is try not to make yourself an enemy to the people. Like, you don't have to make yourself like a villain so that you can control the rejection. Like, you don't have to do that. Nobody here is going to reject you, bro. It's all good. It's all good. So just relax, man. It's all good. All right, guys, commercial break will be on this. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Cobalt in the house. Before we get into this song, big homie Cobalt, bro, you need some help? What you on, boy? You need some help? You want to talk? Girlfriend broke up with you? I'm being serious. If you want to talk, let's talk.
We're here. We're here for it.
We here for it. I just want to do it before we introduce this band because, you know, the band deserves their own attention.
Sure. Everybody has bad days, so we understand.
Yeah, people have bad days, bad weeks,
bad years,
months, bad years,
bad lives,
bad lives.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay. That's okay. That's what metal's all about. It's about being honest with how you feel, all that jazz. So if you're in that kind of situation, bro, it's all good. I'm not gonna like respond to you in kind, man. Mm-hmm. Some of y'all I will. I just want you to go and not come back, to be honest. But
I said, oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't lie to people, bro.
I guess not.
All right. Cobalt has a machine gun and it's firing words. I think he's gone, actually.
Okay.
I think he's gone. That's all right.
So let's
come back anytime you
read
want.
the intro. So let's.
Irreversible is the name of this band.
Is it?
Or the song. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let's pull up Trello.
He did not cross any other than volumetric chatting.
Yeah, I mean, I never saw anything, so I was like, well, I don't know what we have.
You know, he dropped a little N-word there, you know, because I'm supposed to get triggered by that shit, but you know, people still don't really understand your boy. The algorithm is a little bit more complicated than that, guys. I'm sorry. The algorithm is really a little bit more complicated than that. All right. Is it the Trello board? Mm-hmm. You have the thingamajiggy. All right, this is an unsigned hype band, dear listener.
It's gonna be right here.
Band review, Gathering of Bones. Irreversible is the name of the song. Let me read you some information. All original groove thrash metal rooted in 30 years of musical influences, including, listen very closely, dear listener, Metallica, Megadeth, Pantera, Prong, Chevelle, System of a Down, Black Label Society, Five Finger Death Punch, Avatar, and Gojira. The overall sound is meant to be broad-reaching, catchy riffs and strong melodies, high energy with some technical work thrown in for good measure. This is Irreversible by the band Gathering
this is
of Bones. Once again, please.
The people in the band. The band name obviously is Gathering of Bones. We have
Chris,
yeah,
who does guitar and bass, and vocals and lyrics are done by Dave, and the drums are done by Kyle.
All right. Links will be in the description of this video, and you can check out all of their stuff. They've got Facebook, they've got, I believe, Bandcamp as well. All their different stuff is going to be right in the link, so check them out if you want to see more of their stuff.
Gathering of Bones.
In the meantime, let's check it out.
Is the band name. I am not voting for anyone right now.
And we will.
I'll tell you what, Bruno. I'm not voting for anybody that co-signs genocide. Right? So if Trump has Ramaswamy on his ticket, I'm out. I was a fan of Ramaswamy until he said what he said about the Palestinians. But anybody that supports that shit, I'm not on. I'm not voting for you, bro. I will sit out. All right, here we go. Let me get these lyrics here, cause okay, this guy's going off on these lyrics. Look at this shit.
Yeah.
Look at this shit.
All right, you guys. Irreversible is the name of this song.
Let's do it. Right on the beat. Okay.
Long ago, you sold your soul to those that live all down below. They promised power unseen before. If you could sign right on
Unsigned Hype, y'all.
Unsigned Hype.
That is our tier on Patreon or just straight through the Vin and Sorry merch at gmail.com. That is through PayPal. This is a band that has never been well, they're a local band and they're trying to get their information, their stuff out there. If I wasn't told that that's what they were, I would not have known. Because their sound was like a lot of times when we have Unsigned Hype, the audio is not very good. The audio was very good. Wait, you didn't think so?
The mix when the instruments, there was a kid that was here yesterday. He kept talking about the mix. I'm like, yo, are you an engineer? Because like I need somebody that I can trust, like to really, I want to invest some capital in it because it does affect how you enjoy it. So I just thought the mix when the instruments and when the vocals and the instruments were together. Yeah. And I understand it's kind of like you're going for a new metal track type thing with the guitars. So, down-tuned guitars. But when you down-tune guitars like that, it becomes very hard to discern notes. And so you gotta pay a little bit more attention in the mix. I thought the mix was a little bit muddy.
Wait, when you say muddy, what do you mean? Like when the vocals, did the vocals match the instruments?
The mixture of the vocals and the instruments when they were together, to me, were a little bit substandard. Like I could tell that it wasn't a signed band by that quality. I mean, it's not necessarily bad because some people are getting so good at this and it's almost indiscernible. I know a little. I do pre-pro for my band, which will be submitting a song to you soon when our vid comes back.
Nice.
Send me an email, bro, and I want to send you some stuff and send me some direction because there are a couple things that are actually done. We just need to master them and all the rest of it. So let me know. I'm
going by the clarity because you could hear the vocals. You know, sometimes when we hear it, it's like fuzzy sounding and it sounds like you can't really discern.
That was my major positive was his vocal style. I love. People were talking about Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, early Dave Mustaine.
I like that, devilish, sort of schemy kind of voice. Yeah, hey, early Mustaine was like that. It was scheming, really you could tell sinister. He was kind of evil, but it wasn't like Cookie Monster shit. Which I don't have a problem with Cookie Monster shit. We had Death Metal Day yesterday, but I don't have a problem with the Cookie Monster stuff if you're trying to communicate that you're really, really angry. Like the first Slipknot record.
Yeah.
The first Slipknot, I'd say the first two Slipknot records, but the first Slipknot record was my real introduction to that kind of vocal style. And it just so happened that the vocal style matched exactly with what he was talking. Enemy, show me what you want to be. Fuck the shit. You're sick of it. You're going down. This is a war. That's all shit that you would yell. That's we just got out of a rumble. You know what I'm saying? So with death vocals, that was my introduction to them. So it's well, it makes sense. Dude is really angry. And then as I started listening to more death metal, it was I'm screaming about everything. I'm going to the store. I'm why are you mad about going to the store, man? Nigga, we good. What's the problem? You know what I'm saying? It just got to be too much. You're not mad about that shit. Yeah. You talking about your girl, you love her and all that shit. Why are you yelling into the mic about how much you love her, man? I just do standard tuning, man. I don't have. I'm not proficient enough at the guitar to fuck with the tuning to make it. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very, very simple. I mean, you saw. Korn was my introduction to that form of music. You know what I'm saying? So I have a very limited palette. But I'll tell you what, I can beat the hell out of them two notes and that one chord. Yeah. So. It's not really a criticism. It's more like a wish. I wish, because this sort of had a new metal feel to it. It had a real new metal feel to it. It was a lot of open chord stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
No solo, really. The middle was kind of avant-garde, a little bit different. So I loved it because I love new metal. But I just wish the production would have been able to really let us ride that guitar,
Okay. If I was to speak anything about the production, like I'm saying, I think that, the instruments were clear. There wasn't that sort of blurry sound that you can't really actually discern the instruments. That was clear. The vocals were clear. I do, if this is what you're saying, I do feel like it was almost like we've done this before on one of our songs when we were putting everything together, where you like record something at a different time and you're trying to add it in, and it doesn't it's almost like it's a little bit different. I'm not a producer, so I can't tell you what's happening there. Just seems like you're like, that didn't all happen in the same setting. Mm-hmm. And so I would say that was my only criticism about that, was that it felt like that the vocals didn't feel like they were a little bit like they didn't like completely like line up and feel like one completed project. But I still thought it was really good, and I like the artwork on the front of the album. I thought was really good. Are we talking about?
They're a groove metal band, and they had some of the grooviest riffs that you could really like get down on. Mm-hmm. That's why I was like a little bit annoyed about the production, because I know like if they would have got some really thick production on some of those grooves, especially in the main riff, especially like toward the middle, it would have been crazy. Lyrically, it looked like somebody sold their soul to the devil, basically.
Yeah, I wonder if it's...
And it's like, it's over with. You're done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, if they were like a major band, I would have said, oh, it probably has to do with the record label. I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know where they're at or whatever. But
there's an angel in their mm-hmm. album art, so it looks like they're kind of tapped into. He is an audio engineer reactor. Okay, I will check him out, because I'm serious, man. Like, I want the thing to come correct. When you're really, really limited as to what you can do, I don't want like my guitars to like get in the way of the actual talent in the band. You see what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons why I'm not releasing.
Vinny is like the brain and the art and everything behind it. Like I was thinking today, I was practicing the vocals, and I'm like, literally the lyrics. This is not about our stuff, but the lyrics that he had, I couldn't fuck with them because it was from like a male perspective, and I was like, this is not really like working for me. And then he's like, hold on, and he starts like doing this thing that he does when he's like in thought, and within like 6 minutes he had new lyrics and good lyrics. It was crazy.
We were driving.
Yeah, we were driving. I can see you in the driver's seat.
Yeah. But I've been doing that all my life. Like, that's one of the benefits of being a hip hop fan.
Yeah, that's true.
You're just constantly writing, and you're constantly writing in your head. Like, I know everybody like Jay-Z. Jay-Z doesn't write. Biggie doesn't write. Like, a lot of us don't. I knew a lot of rappers that didn't mm-hmm. write. You just saying the shit in your head over and over and over again. But CISO, definitely, man. We're definitely gonna work together for sure. Seriously, because season 3. I'm gonna need you for season 3, because we're about to take. Y'all have no idea how much we're gonna take over this fucking planet.
Yep. You guys are gonna love it, though.
You guys are gonna love it.
So when he's talking about selling his soul, what do you think he's referencing? You think he's talking about?
I think he's just talking about the concept of soul selling itself. Not everything has to be personal, but the concept of selling your soul. I mean, it could be a precautionary tale. Your soul was willed all through the years. Your bones would grow in cowering fears. It's your life now. You must submit. You should have read all the fine print. There is a Chick Tract. So Chick Tracts were these like little mini cartoon pamphlets.
Oh my word, I friggin' loved them. And I started collecting those when I was a kid.
You guys should.
And I'd pass them out.
I'm actually gonna put that shit in the thing, because it's. I grew up on it, man. On Chick Tracts, and I loved them. The first time I ever saw a Chick Tract, there was like this restaurant that somebody had opened in our town, and our town is so friggin' small. And he was a Christian, and he had these Chick Tracts out on the bar, and apparently, like, I think he had a pretty rough past, because I remember thinking he didn't look like the typical people that my parents usually brought us around. Mm-hmm. So he must have like cleaned up his life, but he was still full of tattoos, and he was like this bigger he looked like he belonged to the Chick Tracts. And so we went to his restaurant and we ate, and like I found these tracks there, and I was always like obsessed with the idea of like, I didn't feel like that Christianity had to be so corny, and I was like, but every time we do something it is, but I felt like that this guy's spot was so cool
because he had his tattoos, he had the comics there. Like the chick tracks are like it's like a comic book, but it has like serious dialogue in it. And I think relevant stuff. I mean, I don't know, like is it relevant, Dave? Like I was like 12.
The chick tracks are what a 75-year-old white dude from Oklahoma thinks teenagers thinks is cool.
It worked. I liked it.
Exactly.
And I was like 12 and we were very corny.
Exactly. You were not allowed to watch TV, for God's sake.
This Is Your Life was the one I really liked.
Yeah, This Is Your Life was the famous one, but they have one where like the guy's like a Christian rocker, and they put Christian in quotes because obviously it's impossible to be a Christian and be in a metal band. So these people, they go and wallahi, if I found it, I would read the chick track from start to finish for that one. But it's basically they're metalheads and they're Christians and they're gonna do music for the Lord. But then it's like obviously you can't do that because metal is from the devil. And so their manager's name, I kid you not, was Lucy Fur. Fur was his last name. His first name was Lucy.
Okay.
What's your first and last name? Lucifer. Okay. And these kids sign it, and then it's like, oh no! Like,
is
at
that
the end, and the devil,
the
he like pulls off the mask, like on, what do you call it? Scooby Doo's like, I got you, nigga, you signed this away, nigga. He's like, oh shit, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, there's nothing you can do about it. And then the next thing you see is this big white Jesus on the throne going, you should have sold your soul, and you shouldn't have done any of that rock music. Away with you!
So bad.
Shout out to Jack Chick.
It's so bad.
Shout out to Jack Chick.
I thought those were gonna change the world. I'm like, this is it. Like
they did.
This is it.
They did. I believe they changed the world. I believe it.
I wonder what I would think of them now if I read them now, because I'm like going back to my 12-year-old mind and seeing them.
I mean, now you would probably be massively offended. Shout out to Miss
Really?
Mud and this bitch. If it would be okay with it, I would love to converse about the differences in our approach to faith in Christ. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem discussing differences. Let me rate this song, and then we can talk about. I'll do like a little, I don't know, 15-minute Ask Me Anything, hang out, whatever.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you give this song?
I'm gonna give this one an 8.5. An 8.5, which is a very, very high score. I liked my favorite part about it was the groove, because I got into metal. I got into metal for the groove. You know, it's funny because like it's a lot of chug-a-lug stuff, but the groove stuff was what really got me. You know, and obviously Korn, they mastered groove metal, like they did. I don't care what anybody says. So the groove was really there for me. 8.5. What do you got?
I'm giving it an 8.4. Yeah, I think that.
That's what you had in your head. 8.4.
I did because I wanted to give them a 9 because I think that I'm feeling a little bit differently about people's produced music because we've been working on ours for a while. I mean, you would have had it done, you know, eons ago, but it's been a little bit clunky on my side. So when I see that somebody has like finished it and like they did it and then they're putting it out there and promoting it and stuff, I'm like, oh, but I really think that at this point, I think I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with an 8.4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's looking at the chick tracks right now. All right. Well, that's Vin out, sorry out. Before we
hold on, I just want to see if this is the table. All right.
You gonna put it up there?
I don't know if I'm gonna put it up there or not. All right.
Just Vin out, sorry out. Since the end of that.
Huh?
Vin out, sorry out.
Vin out.
Sorry out.
Go.
I had to say that so many times. It's gonna look so weird.
Yeah. So Jason, you can share some differences. We gotta we'll put a 15-minute Ask Me Anything, so you can ask anything that you want, and I will answer it truthfully as much as I possibly can. Boom. There's your 15-minute clock. So bombs away, dear listener. Bombs away.
Oh, it's the 25th. Holy shit.
Yeah, man. We're almost a full month out of 2024, man. Time flies. Y'all better get right.
Yeah.
You better get right or get left. Remember that?
That's right. Yes.
You better get right or get left.
left.
Dudes weren't trying to miss the rapture, bruh.
No.
I wasn't trying to miss that bitch at
No.
all, bro. I was not trying to miss no rapture. You can go ahead, go on with that, man.
Yeah.
Y'all go ahead. Y'all get left behind. Hang out with Nikolai Carpathia all you want.
Get your ass beheaded if you.
Yeah. You'll end up on a you'll end up on a chick track. What's the next concert you're going to see?
I don't know. To be honest with you, Controller of Minds sent us some different shows, but I'm not really sure what our next one will be. Do you?
Our lives are currently on pause, and that is coming to a close, bless God. So I'm not sure which concert we're going to see. I am sure that we're going to go to a lot of them. A whole lot of them.
Woo!
Jason, you can always disagree with me, bro. It's just, make sure you have facts. And don't tell me that you've got random friends in Yugoslavia, Spain, Mars, Pluto.
Wait, Jason.
Those kinds of claims to knowledge are not very effective to me. But if you've got actual like credentialed sources for stuff, hell yeah, bro. Bring it on.
When I first met you both, your wife kind of scared me with something I couldn't even have begun to think of as long as a
lifelong Christian. This is interesting. It looks like Jason's story is more directed to you than me. You probably scared him.
What happened? How did I scare you? As lifelong believer in my faith in Christ.
I couldn't even begin to think of as a lifelong Christian.
I think that's because I said about the rapture.
Like I did. Oh, is it the rapture stuff?
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true because I really set that off like a grenade.
What did you say? What did you say?
I just came right because it's so in the past for me that I don't even look at it as like the rapture happening like that. And then I'm pretty sure, you came in after, and you were like, I'm sure she didn't say. And I had to actually
I was like, she didn't say that.
I did. I did. I said the second coming already happened. Yeah, 70 AD.
Yeah. There is no term second coming in the Bible. I think that's significant. Joe Biden says, hey man, I feel like the whole world's on my shoulders. Got all these problems in the world. Sometimes it's hard to take. It's a lot of work. I feel like Blinken pushes me too hard. I'm doing my best. You know what, Joe? I have made a rule to follow what the scripture says. The scripture says, you shall not speak evil of a rule of your people. So I have tried to stay away from the Biden mockery. I also think, to be honest, we disagree on this, but I also think it's gross to mock somebody's declining mental health. I've always had a problem with that. I don't understand why that's okay just because the guy is the president or running for the president or whatever. To be honest with you, I don't have a grandfather or anybody that suffered from dementia or whatever. So it's not like there's like some reference point. To me, it's picking on the weak, and I don't understand why.
I think I've changed.
I do understand why. Well, I do understand why because we're in a crazy political environment, and Biden is morally speaking, horrible. But so I do think if you're a praying person, you should pray for him because I'm certain he feels like the weight of the world is on his shoulders because it's true. It's true. On top of that, he's got issues with his son and shit, man. I know what that's about too. So, and then on top of that, his son is getting dragged out in public. Look, and he probably deserves it. He's a grown man. Like, you're not gonna see me crying for these people, but I just know if I was in that situation, I'd be pretty fucked up too, Like, you got multiple wars, it must be a tough job, bro. And like, what kind of mindset you have to say, yeah, I want that kind of power and that kind of responsibility. I don't know.
But do you think he feels the weight of the world? If he has Alzheimer's? Is that what we're
Well, we don't.
Or we're just
He
assuming.
doesn't have an official diagnosis,
Oh,
but it's
yeah, okay.
clear that his
he's in decline.
his mind is in decline.
Yeah.
It's very clear that that's happening.
Look, you're a great American.
When are you doing your European tour? I honestly see myself in Europe in about 1.5 years. I'm not lying.
Ooh.
I'm not
Our
lying.
sauna is always warm for you. Oh, I like that guy.
Do you think it was just for Jesus to call the Gentile woman a dog? Well, he didn't call her a dog. She said, heal my daughter, she's sick. And Jesus said, it's not right to give the food of the children to the dogs. And the woman responds by saying, yeah, but even the puppies get the scraps.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jesus responds by saying, woman, your faith has made you well. And a lot of people don't understand that, but being a person from a racial minority, I actually have a little bit of insight into this.
Okay.
Because what's happening is, when you're a racial minority, make no mistake about it, you also hate those people. So a lot of us think oh, if there's racism, you got the KKK, white people will hate black people, and then there's this whole technical argument is is it possible for black people to be racist in the first place, right? And what's happening is a lot of people are not understanding what we're talking about, because there's one definition of racism that has prejudice plus power.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And so if you formulate racism as prejudice plus power, then there's only one group of people in this country that can be racist. But if you broaden it and you look at what God is going to judge, which is the heart,
right,
that distinction kind of collapses.
Yeah.
And so when you're in a situation where you're at constant war with a group of people, both sides hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a Syrophoenician woman, which, by the way, she came from the same group of people that Jezebel came from.
No kidding.
Yeah. Isabella Phoenicia.
Yeah. Oh.
The woman was a Syrophoenician woman, so it was a combination of Syria and Phoenicia. That's where Jezebel came from.
Oh,
So
wow.
Jesus uses...
The woman at the well? No.
No. The woman that was asking for the
healing.
healing of her
healing,
daughter.
yeah.
Jesus uses the terminology of the day to trigger her, but instead of her saying "fuck you, Jewish whatever," she says, "I don't even care about that because this little mini racial conflict doesn't mean shit to me because my daughter's in trouble." Like, there's a bigger issue to me than just this conflict between our groups of people. So let's get rid of that and just, how about you help my daughter? You don't have to like me.
Mm-hmm.
This is another thing about,
Why would he want to trigger her though?
because he was using her to show everybody around her that the kingdom that he was bringing was different. Remember, the Jews thought, especially, you read this in Maccabees, read this very second Maccabees, they thought the Messiah was going to come, destroy all the pagans, purify the temple, and then create an ethno-global state where the whole world is in slavery to Jewish people. That's what they thought.
Yeah.
And some of them still do. Read
I
your
was
Talmud.
going to say.
Read your Talmud. That's one of the reasons they're so.
Sounds like
That's
Black
one
Israelites.
of the reasons that they have no problem eliminating all these Palestinian children.
Wow.
Okay, that's just a fact. Ideas have consequences. So Jesus says, "Woman, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." And so that situation right there showed Jesus's disciples, this woman gets it. This little racial debacle that you guys are involved in, I am bigger than all of this shit.
Right, because if Jesus was really actually had issue with her, he wouldn't have wanted to even help her and heal her, right?
Correct.
So he
Correct.
said the words that were like
Correct.
triggering of their time, but he was still doing something beyond that was showing that these words don't really matter at the end of the day. Is that what you mean?
So he says, "I want to thank Sawyer for giving me something to actually study, because I spent the last few days reading the books of Revelation, and I would never have come to sources that I do not. Would they be hypocritical? I'm not really sure about that one."
Jason, seriously, check out Wars of the Jews.
Yeah.
It's insane. Especially because from my understanding of who you are, you kind of grew up in the church, your father's a pastor, you've heard this stuff all your friggin' life. So when you sit there and you listen to the Wars of the Jews, stuff is just going to start popping up to you because you keep in mind the stuff that you've heard about Revelation and the stuff that you've heard from Daniel and Matthew as you're listening to it. And all of a sudden, it's gonna line up. You'll be like, that's kind of like when this happened. That's kind of like when this happened. It was the creepiest thing of all the stuff that of all the thrillers we've ever seen, that by far was the creepiest. Hearing those things line up.
That one's pretty. That was pretty.
It was pretty cool also because Vinny and I, both of us grew up in that same idea, but his mind is different than my mind, obviously. So there was stuff that I would point out, and then there was stuff that he would point out, and it was just like so much connection. It was, but it was a good time. I like, it was one of my, up there on my top 10 times with you was that experience driving around Augusta listening to that.
Yeah, but you want to talk about terrifying.
It was absolutely.
That was pretty terrifying to listen to for sure. I have a question about Islam for you. How do you rely on the hadiths are? I tend to take the view that claims of perfect transmission are impossible to verify, even by the admission of hadith collector hadiths were being mass fabricated. So for everybody that doesn't know, the Muslims have a structure of revelation that's kind of tiered. So one, you have Quran, which is like the word of God, capital W. And then you have a second group of there's really 2 or 3 other groups of documents, but there's another group of documents called the Hadith, and those documents talk about Muhammad's life and times, okay? So, what happens in Islam is that Muhammad is essentially the lived out Quran. So whatever he does, and the Quran actually says it's like, in Muhammad, I've given you basically the perfect prototype for humanity or something like that. And so what happens is the hadith becomes important because now you're seeing how Muhammad reacted in certain situation, which then becomes the path or the sunnah. Sunnah in Arabic means path. Becomes the path by which you actually work out Islam. So one example would be, we all know Muslims have to pray 5 times a day. The specific times when they pray are not articulated in the Quran. They're actually found in the Hadith. When you see Muslims go and make the pilgrimage to Mecca and circumambulate the Kaaba and kiss the black stone, all that stuff, none of that's found in the Quran. All that's found in the Hadith. So it's literally impossible to be a mainstream Muslim without the Hadith. Literally impossible. So then the question becomes, well, how reliable are these? Because the Hadith this is how a vast majority of the Hadith starts out. Umar ibn al-Khattab said that he heard that Aisha radiallahu anha say that Rasulullah said that you can buy a prostitute temporarily when you're going to war. So it's like second, tertiary hand sources saying, I heard this person say that Muhammad was this. Now, for us as Westerners, we go, that's your... And the other problem with this is the Hadith were collected hundreds of years after the death of Muhammad. That's another problem. The Imam Bukhari was hundreds of years after Muhammad. And so how, my Muslim friends, if you say, well, how did you keep the integrity of this narration for hundreds of years before it was actually written down? And they'll tell you, look, the process of validating and vetting a deed was like crazy. Like, for example, there was this one guy, everybody loved him, he was honest, he never told a lie, but his camel wouldn't drink. And so he basically tricked the camel. The camel thought he was going this way, and then he tricked the camel going the other way, and the camel ran in some more, and he drank. Well, that knocked him down a grade because he lied to his animal. So the Muslims are saying, look at the standards of the Hadith. But of course, nobody saw that happen. So to me, and then the problem that you run into with Islam is that there are different gradations of the reliability of the Hadith. So if it's Sahih, that means it's basically the same as the Quran. So my final take on the Hadith is the Hadith is important for Muslims because it gives them the specifics on how to do their worship. And it gives an understanding of why they're doing what they're doing. I don't believe that the Hadith gives us any real insight into anything because it's impossible without the written word to confirm that those stories were the same stories. They're just, I'm sorry. Now you do have, again, and these are legendary moments, but you do have people that are reciting Hadith the exact same way, like 2 or 3 years apart.
Oh.
Okay, but again, We're told that. We haven't seen that demonstrated. So my thought on the Hadith is that the Hadith functions more for practical reasons for later generational Muslims, because the Quran is an incomplete book. It just is. And any Muslim who's honest will tell you that. The Quran, listen, if all of us ended up on a desert island, okay, and all you had was your Bible, you could come out a Christian and an Orthodox one. If you ended up in a desert island and all you had is your Quran, there'd be so much of Islam that you would have no clue about. That's just a fact. And so,
for instance, the prayers.
The Hadith functions to fill in those gaps and give that direction. And that's one of the reasons why. And the Hadith obviously reflects the seats in Laban, the situation life of the people at the time. Muhammad was 53. He had sex with a 9-year-old girl. Okay? If the Hadiths were being collected today, I promise you that would not be there. Right? And so that's the problem with Islam, is that you set up Muhammad as a perfect example of humanity, and he goes and rapes this 9-year-old girl. So if you've ever been to Yemen, you see this. This happens. Fathers, I'm not even going to talk about it.
So remember there was a story where the
hold on, Jason. I got distracted by the Islam question.
The goat ate some of their writings. Was that the Hadith or was that the Quran?
No, it was the Quran. It was the Quran. Aisha, radiallahu anha, literally says that a baby goat, she had one of the chapters in the Quran on her bed, and a baby goat went and took it and ate it and ran away with it. She tried to check, couldn't find it. It's a fact.
And then they had a bunch of their, like, the people that had their, was it that also the Quran where they had all of it memorized? And then they put those who had it all completely memorized in the front on the battle, because they said there's no way that Allah is going to let them who hold those truths get killed. And sure enough, a bunch of them got.
Thoughts on...
Right?
Yeah. No.
Was that the Quran or was that the Hadith?
Where the
battle, when put them all in the front, the ones
the
that
battle
had
of Yamama. That's all. I mean, that's Islamic history, but it's also in the Hadith. Yeah, they took all the Hafiz, which is all the people that memorize the Quran from start to finish, and they put them in the front lines of the battle, because their reasoning was there's no way Allah would allow those people to be killed because they memorized the Quran. Well, a whole bunch of them died. And that was the reason why they had to inscripturate the Quran in the first place. We should probably talk more about this at some point. I've been diving into Islamic study. There are good reasons to believe that even Sahih hadiths don't preserve the Quran's historical context. I agree. I think that the hadith are I hate to say it, but the inventions of the later Muslims to fill in the gaps that the Quran could not fill in. And changing certain ideas. So, for example, the Quran allows for prostitution when you're at war. It's called muta marriage. It allows for people to buy prostitutes. But then the Hadith, later on, you have a Sahih Hadith hundreds of years later where Ali says, I heard the Messenger of Allah say we're not doing that anymore. So the Sunnis will say that muta is no longer applicable. But that's an instance where they're putting the Hadith over the Quran. Now, I've been trying to talk to my Muslim friends about this, but they will not touch it. There are some things that the top Islamic apologists refuse to touch.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of them. He was a big name, and then he ran into, the Harvard guy, and it kind of fucked up his,
credibility.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about him because we're going to say that Muslim men that die waging jihad against the enemies of Islam will be awarded by Allah and Jannah as Shohada and receive 72 virgins to enjoy. So everybody who makes it to Jannah gets the Hur-Alain. So the Hur-Alain are the virgins. It's not just the people who blow themselves up. Every man that makes it to Jannah gets the virgins. The real draw for being Shohada is the plural form of the term Shaheed. And a Shaheed is a martyr. Okay? It's very similar to the Christian idea. It's a courtroom scene and you're a witness. So for example, when you're converting to Islam, you say, Ya Ashhadu la ilaha, you're saying, I bear witness. Ashadu, Shadu, Shaheed.
Mm-hmm.
I am bearing witness. So you're in a courtroom setting. And so a Shaheed is somebody who is a martyr.
Mm-hmm.
The big draw in Islam to martyrdom is not necessarily the virgins. The really big draw is if you die as a martyr, you skip Yom al-Qiyamah,
right?
the day of judgment.
Yeah.
The day of judgment is the most terrifying event in human history. I think it goes on for 10,000 years or something like that. It's horrifying.
10,000 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's billions and billions of people
Oh.
who has to go through all of them.
It was like-
It's terrifying. And a lot of people don't understand this, but there's like a purgatorial understanding in Islam where a lot of Muslims are expecting to do some time in hell. So they're terrified. There is one category of person who completely dodges the day of judgment, and those are the shuhada, the martyrs. And so the reason you want to be a shaheed is that you get to avoid the day of judgment, which obviously guarantees you the virgins. They are absolutely, Muhammad Atta. We were looking at one of the last things he put out there, and he was talking about the virgins and all the rest of it. So it's definitely the forefront of their mind. But the real thing for them is dodging the day of judgment. Were the original books in the Bible written in Hebrew, Aramaic, or Arabic? Original books of the Bible were written in Hebrew and Aramaic, and the later post-exilic texts like Daniel has, and definitely you see Ezra has some Aramaic in it. And then your New Testament is written in Koine Greek. So your old, then you have a Greek version of the Old Testament called the Septuagint.
Yep.
Which I paid a lot of money for.
Somebody was saying they spent 4 years in like studying theology or something like that, but they don't really have a whole lot of understanding. And I spent 3 years at a Bible college, and when I left, Vinny, who had never been to any sort of college, knew a hell of a lot more than I did. I've learned more being married to him than I did the entire time that I was in college for that.
A free naturalist, the logical problem of the Trinity, as I've demonstrated, was no problem. Somebody was bringing up Leibniz, and I'm not trying to like embarrass people or whatever, but somebody brought up Leibniz's law, the law of identity, as some sort of issue with the Trinity. When Leibniz, the entire reason Leibniz went into philosophy was to defend the Trinity over and against Isaac Newton's monism, which is basically an Islamic version of God. So Isaac Newton actually had an Islamic version of monotheism that Leibniz jumped into the ring to.
That's right.
In order to refute. This person then used Leibniz to try to argue against the Trinity. It's like using Charles Darwin to argue against the origin of the species. I mean, it's weird.
What is this? What about the Trinity? Where was the Trinity? What is
You're
the logical problem?
It's
with the
the
Trinity?
whole nature-person distinction,
Oh,
which that individual admitted on camera was there. And then later on, when he was getting worked by the Harvard guy, he literally used the argument that I used about the Trinity to defend his authory creed. It was
interesting.
one of my major. I've got 2 or 3 major issues with Islam where I could never be a Muslim.
Yeah, somebody asked you why you weren't.
Number 1, Surah 4:157 that says that Jesus never died on the cross. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. Because if I became a Muslim, I would then have to defend that. And it's indefensible.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I can't be a Muslim just on that alone. 2, I can't get over the Aisha thing, man. I really can't get over the Aisha thing. He married her when she was 6, and he had sex with her when she was 9. That's statutory rape. I'm sorry. That's statutory rape. And I had a guy at the very, very beginning was like, yo, how could you accept this? And I was like, well, he's a person of his time, but that still doesn't work for me. Here's why. Muslims will tell you that one of the best things that Muhammad did as far as bringing reforms to the Arab Peninsula was if you didn't want your child, they would dig a little hole in the desert and put the child in the hole and then like let it die of exposure. And most of the time you did that with girls because girls were, And so Muhammad came and issued these reforms and said, you guys can't do this anymore. And the Muslims will say, look what Muhammad did, look what Muhammad did. And I say, great. He went against the zeitgeist. He went against it. Great. Yeah. But then he goes and rapes a 9-year-old girl. Jesus. I'm out. I'm sorry. I can't do it. It would be one thing to say, this is what the Mormons now have to do about Joseph Smith, because there's so much extant literature about Joseph Smith, where the top Mormon historian said, yeah, I think he invented that doctrine to deal with his sin issues. Okay? You cannot do that in Islam. You have to say that Muhammad is the pinnacle of humanity and everything he did was great. So I'm sorry. I mean, there's even a story where this guy marries an older woman. And Muhammad said, why'd you do that? And he goes, well, I got brothers and sisters and shit, and she already knows how to be a mom, so I figured it'd be wise for me to marry her. Muhammad said, why didn't you marry a young girl so you can play with her and she can play with you? So he had something with younger girls, man. I'm sorry, he did. I'm out. I can never, ever, ever, you know. And then when you know, the thing that really got me was the shit that's happening over in the UK with these groomer gangs and shit. I'm like, this is a logical ramification. And on top of that, one of the dudes, that Muslim, this is another reason I don't say his name, but there was a guy in that crew that he's in prison now for raping his stepdaughter. And if you look at the timeline, it was right around the time he converted to Islam. And there's a really obscure law in Islam that basically says you can have sex with your stepdaughter if the original marriage wasn't valid or some shit or whatever. But you could trace this guy's sexual assault of his stepdaughter to his conversion to Islam. Do I think Islam caused it? No, I think he was a sick person before Islam. But Islam gave him an alternate reality where somebody who was a pinnacle of humanity did the same thing to a girl much younger. Jeez. And I had to deal with the ramifications of that. Then on top of that, I hear about the groomer gangs, and I just go, okay, my friend Dan, he was right about that. That was a blind spot for me. I love Islam. I love Islamic people, blah, 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 blah. I do believe they're misunderstood. They're characterized incorrectly in the media, all that. But I can't get over that shit, and I cannot get over the untold suffering that millions of hundreds of thousands of girls must have experienced because this fucking guy is supposedly the pinnacle of humanity. I'm out. So there are a bunch of other reasons, but those were the other reasons. But free naturalist. All of us make a distinction between nature and personhood, being and personhood. We know that a rock has being, but it doesn't have personhood. Angels have being, but they're unipersonal. So we've got two categories already that are not contradictory. All we're saying is God has being and he's tripersonal instead of unipersonal or non-personal. That's all that's happening.
Which you would expect that if God is beyond us and he's bigger than us, then of course then you would think that he would follow the same nature as us.
We had a pre-conversation, me and this dude, and I said, I've got some questions about the Quran I need you to answer. Mm-hmm. And he refused. Yeah. He said, nah, I don't really know much about the Quran. I was like, what do you mean? I just saw you listening. Because one of the things about Islam, especially when we're talking about the Trinity discussion, and I wish I could have got this dude, but he knew what he was doing by refusing to answer the question. So in Sunni theology, the Quran is uncreated.
Right.
Okay? So in Sunni theology, the Quran is uncreated, but the Quran is impersonal. So what you have is two distinct eternal beings in Islam. Mm-hmm. I asked the brother, I said, is eternity, is timelessness, is beginninglessness an attribute of God or the creation? He said God, which is true. Yeah. The problem is when you say that the Quran is uncreated and eternal, you have now put the Quran in a spot that is only reserved for the divine, according to you. Yeah. And do you know what the top Muslim scholars say? What do they say? When you say, hey, that's a contradiction. They say Allahu Alam. Allah knows best. We don't talk about it. I can send you videos of the top sheikhs saying we don't talk about that.
I bet not.
So the homie was right to not talk about it publicly.
Yeah.
Because they know there's no way to reconcile that shit. You got to understand, apologetically speaking, Islam did not spread. The first 300 years of Islam was not spread by rigorous apologetics. Okay? The very first battle that happened after the death of Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was called the Ridda Wars, R-I-D-D-A. Go check it out yourself. And what happened was, when they saw that Muhammad was truly, truly dead, they said, okay, no more Islam for us. And Abu Bakr said, what are y'all talking about? It's for life. And they're like, nah, man, Muhammad's dead, we're good. He said, no, you're not. Islam's for life. They said, no, for real, we're good. Abu Bakr said, all right, cool. Abu Bakr shows up with 10,000 of his closest friends and starts murking people, setting people on fire and shit. And all of a sudden, those people had a revelation. Hey, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah.
We're returning.
Jesus cannot be compared to Muhammad. You can't compare it. Okay? When Muhammad died, they left his body unburied for 3 days because Muhammad said that the ground is haram to the bodies of the prophets, meaning that the ground is forbidden from consuming the prophets. When you're starting to decay and all this stuff. And so when Muhammad died, they believed, okay, we'll just keep his body in state. And then a couple days started happening, and this is Saudi Arabia, dear listener. I'm sorry, okay, but he began to smell. So finally, one of the OGs said, it's over, guys. Bury him. It's over.
His uncle.
And they couldn't do it. And they finally had to bury dude because he was making the place uninhabitable. Okay? So Muhammad's people believed not that he would rise from the dead, just that his body would remain in state. But after 3 days, they gave it up. Jesus' followers did not believe that his brutalized dead body was going to remain in state. They believed he was going to die in decay like everybody else. And then 3 days later, they came up with the craziest story you've ever heard in your life. I don't know, dear listener, but you cannot compare the Lord Jesus to Muhammad at all. You can't even compare Muhammad to Paul. You get a closer comp comparing Muhammad to me. Honestly. You'll get closer to me comparing Muhammad than, forget Jesus. Don't even do that. Paul, Ignatius, Clement, all of them lived way more righteous lives than Muhammad. It's not even questioned. I'm sorry. So that's why I couldn't be a Muslim. I got nothing but love for Muhammad. I got nothing but, I admire him. I admire, being able to get a disparate group of people and unite an entire peninsula is a one. I'll take Judas over Muhammad, and I'm not joking. I wouldn't leave Judas alone with my pocketbook, but I'd leave him alone with my daughter. I'd never leave Muhammad alone with my daughter. I wouldn't. Nor would I. I'll tell you. If you're from Yemen, I wouldn't leave you alone with my daughter. I wouldn't even let you see my daughter, bro. But I'm talking about me personally, my own personal experiences about shit. Okay? So, that's why. You cannot compare. Muhammad is really cool to look at and is historical curiosity, and you have to account for Muhammad in the Quran because the Islam is one of the fastest growing religions. Now, look, when you have a religion that kills people for leaving, the number count is probably going to be a little bit skewed. But either way, you still have to contend with Islam. You've got Andrew Tate. You got you should be literate. You should be Islamic literate for sure. Yeah, but man, there's a lot of. I think I went a little bit. Do you think the fact that I chose not to follow in his footsteps to become a pastor instead of become a racer had my wreck became addicted and now I can start my heart? I chose Jesus. I mean, there's nothing in the Bible that says you're supposed to do exactly what your father does. You know, Abel did not continue the family business. Cain did, right? Adam was a land worker, and so was Cain. Abel was the one that went off and said, I'm going to go off and do animals. So, and obviously Abel's portrayed as righteous and Cain's portrayed. So following in your father's footsteps, I'll say this, I'll speak for your father. Following in your father's spiritual footsteps, your dad wants you to do that and more. But like how you work that out in the physical world, I suspect that your dad, he just wants you to be happy and live righteous, man.
Yeah. I think that, you know, Paul said that he was not going to become a slave to anything. So, you know, addiction, stuff like that, they make you a slave. So I think that your father doesn't want to see you a slave of anything, and I think he wants to see you free in Christ and doing whatever it is that God called you to do. So if it's on the racing track and you're doing your thing over there and you're being a witness to those people over there, like, just, you know, whatever, like, I think I'm really glad that your dad had that conversation with you the other day. Like that was really cool. Like, I think that not everybody's parents end up saying those things. So I'm glad that he did. And I think that you should walk in that freedom.
Believe in science, leave religion behind. Life will be less stressful and more fulfilling. I mean,
well, I don't know. The scientific community is awfully stressed. They're avoiding meetups.
Well, it's not the scientific community; it's the atheist community. That's
right,
not the same thing.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Don't put that on.
No. Thank you for the correction. I'm being corrected. Right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, real science. I mean, I don't even know how to. Nobody's attacking you, bro. It's just. I think you know what the problem is. You know what the problem is. Real science is that there are so many philosophical and metaphysical issues with what you're saying. It would take so long to unpack. Like for example, I asked this question earlier. We have laws like gravity. Explain to me scientifically, without God, why gravity is going to hold in 500 years. Why will the law of gravity remain the law of gravity in 500 years? And was the law of gravity the exact same law of gravity 500 years ago? And if so, how do you know? See, there's a lot of things that you have to assume in order to make a lot of this shit work, right? The hard problem of consciousness, for example. I was listening to Hoffman yesterday. He's like, you know, it's going to take another 50 years of some of the most brilliant scientists to finally come to the conclusion that it is fucking impossible to boot up consciousness from dead matter. Here's my problem with statements like that. These are some of the most fundamental issues we have. Like, for example, what's fundamental? Matter or consciousness? Okay? If you're a physicalist, atheist, materialist, you have to say that matter is fundamental, but we know that that's not true.
Right.
We know definitively matter is not fundamental.
Right.
And that's why you have to have new dimensional theories and hypotheses like amplitude-hadrons and all the rest of it, because we're scrambling trying to figure out how to live in a post-physical environment. Okay? So there's so many things I could say about science and all the rest of it. All I'll tell you is that I've said this a million times on this channel. In the new world, in 10 million years, we're going to be doing science. I don't think we're going to be doing Bible studies. Mm-hmm. So that's where I am at with it. I don't know what kind of life you live, bro. Real science, right? Like all I'm saying is you have got to deal with the foundational problems with your worldview initially before you go and do stuff, right? If you can't answer the fundamental question, what's fundamental matter of consciousness, then you should probably take some time. And then if you can't account for consciousness itself as a category, it's a categorical phenomenon. If your worldview cannot even account for it at a theoretical level, then maybe there's a problem. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really deep problems with a godless universe. And you know, I think once you try to tackle those questions, I think we'll be in a much better spot. You know what I'm saying? To have a real fruitful. Divorcing science from philosophy is one of the worst things that happened after the Enlightenment. Correct. Because you have, what a lot of people don't understand is that you have to start with a philosophical presupposition in the first place to do science, namely that the universe itself is ordered. The entire endeavor of doing science assumes a logic to the universe.
Yeah.
We use terms like laws and things of that nature. We're not assuming randomness and chaos. The scientific endeavor is, how does this shit work? Mm-hmm. Science is looking under the hood.
Yeah.
It is not, hey, let's assume, like for example, if you took a 5-year-old and that 5-year-old knows basic alphabet A through Z, but you didn't teach that 5-year-old how to read or write, so he just puts a bunch of letters on a paper for 500 pages. Okay, that's book A. Book B is Shakespeare. Okay? There have been literally millions of college students that have had to study Shakespeare. Probably billions that have had to study Shakespeare. No college class is going to study the scribblings of a 5-year-old. And the reason for that is study in that context is nonsensical because it's chaotic and there is nothing to study. Mm-hmm. You cannot study randomness. We study Shakespeare because of the genius of the engineer, the way that he put those words together and the metaphysical ramifications of what those words mean, hundreds of years later, are still worthy of analysis. So when we look at science, what book are we reading from? Are we reading from a book of a 5-year-old scribbling a bunch of letters, but he's been doing it for 1 billion years, so somehow some words came together? Or is a scientific endeavor breaking down Shakespeare? When I look at the cell, real science, when I look at your circulatory system, when I look at mitochondria, when I look at this new dude, I forgot what his name is, the BioBots guy that has proven that atoms are conscious. The atoms in your body are conscious. I'm telling you, you guys, I'm telling you, the shit that's out here is insane. You wouldn't believe it. That's his name. Dr. Michael Levin. He's about to win a Nobel Prize in 3 years. You'll see. I called it here. Dr. Michael Levin.
Bets are on.
So, you know, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Okay? Inductive reasoning is great. Inductive reasoning is great, but you have to assume certain things for induction to work. And what I'm saying is, assume it. Everything can be explained through mathematics. It is the language of the universe. How can the universe have a language? Language requires mentation. So does math. I agree with you. Math is the language of the universe.
Yeah.
That proves my point, though. Only sentient beings communicate in language. So look, thank you for using the term language. When I look at the book of the universe, does it look like a book written by a 5-year-old just scribbling? Or does it look like a person with some forethought, person with some brilliance, person with some intention, built the little systems in my body that makes, I am a collect. Do you realize that if Michael Levin is right, you are the collection of about 10 billion conscious atoms? I don't think the universe looks like a 5-year-old wrote it. I don't have any beef with you. I feel about you the exact same way I felt about you 3 months ago. I have no beef with you whatsoever. I agree. Many of what ancient people thought, whether they were ancient pagans or ancient Christians or many of what people thought, the Vedic stuff, was right. It's true. And our atheist friends 10 years ago were mocking us and saying we all believe in fairy stories. And now it's like, well, actually, we were right. Yeah, man. Remember I said yesterday that there's a godly way to love and a satanic way to love. There's a godly way to be humble and a satanic way to be humble. And there's a godly fear and a satanic fear.
Yep.
And the Bible wants for us to be free from satanic fear.
Yep.
So the scripture says, there's no fear in love, but perfect love casts out all fear. The one who fears has not been perfected in love, because fear has to do with torment.
Yep.
So we're afraid that God is out to torment us. And John is saying, there's no fear in love, perfect love casts out fear. God does not want you to have a scintilla of satanic fear. Godly fear is a type of fear that you have when you're afraid for your first date, or you met a rock star that you've been following your entire life, or you're at the peak of a roller coaster and you're about to go down. That's the kind of fear God wants in your and his relationship. The fear of the Lord is simply saying, keep the relationship fresh, man. That's all it means. And we have this, like, you have the fear of your wife, right? Where I'm like, yo, I don't want to get bored with my wife, right? We'll try new things or do new things or have different experiences, whatever, right? And that's what it means to fear the Lord, is put yourself in situations where you're constantly blown away by God's whatever. His grace. Me personally, I've just been having my mind blown for years at this side stuff about the genius of my creator, man. I've just been blown away. When I see people orders of magnitude way more brilliant than me saying shit that I was saying 10 years ago. As the scripture says, I'm wiser than all my teachers because I know your law. It says that in Psalm 119. I'm wiser than all my teachers because I know your law. So for me, that's what it's all about, man. It's this constant pursuit of this incredible whirlwind that we're calling the Trinity of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, being caught up in that impossible to describe with words storm, being in the center of that. There have been a few times, like, alone in prayer, where it's just like too much. And you're like, yo, I forgot who, it was Spurgeon with somebody who was walking down Manhattan, and he said just heaven fell on him and he couldn't move, and he said yo, chill. It's like, yo, I can't do that. I think it's Moody. It's in New York City walking around, and he said the presence of God would just go on him for hours, and he was begging God, like, yo, I do not have the capacity within my atomic structure to handle this. And so he told God, like, leave me alone, bro.
Wow.
Like, I had like 2 of those experiences. I remember reading that and being like, man, I would never do that. You're wrong. It's like those people never saw blue before, but blue was right in front of them the entire time, and they had to be taught to see blue. There's a lesson, because people are interfacing with this amazing God, and they don't even see it.
Yeah.
They don't even see it.
Yeah.
Something as obvious as blue, you have to be taught that. So if we have to be taught blue, maybe we have to be taught about our Creator.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Do you think I'm strong enough that if I ever get sick and my doctor gives me something, I won't fall off the wagon again? Hell no, I don't think you're strong enough. No, the scripture says, when you're weak, what? Then you're strong. Paul says, I glory in my weakness. That's why I say all the time, I said, you guys, you know, I need Christianity as a crutch. I need Jesus as a crutch. The rest of you guys are all strong people. Christianity is not for the strong. Christianity is for the weak, but then you get made strong. But you just have to understand where the strength is coming from. God is not telling you, figure it out, get in there and dig it out, and use your willpower. Man, stop. Nah, he's saying, focus on your relationship with the Holy Spirit, because he's the one in the Trinity that's going to change you.
Yeah.
So you tell the Holy Spirit that you've got, what did Paul say? We have no confidence in the flesh.
Yeah.
I have no fucking confidence in myself to do a scintilla of good. I have no confidence in myself to give away a penny with a good motive. I don't. So I always say, I got no confidence in the flesh. Jesus said the flesh profits nothing. The words I speak to you are spirit and they are life. So for me, anytime I run into a sin that I'm like looking at in the mountain, I'm like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna overcome this shit, bro. I just go, man, I don't gotta overcome this. Holy Spirit, help me. Help me. And that's how it works. As long as you're not top blue, no matter who.
I was gonna click on it. But
I see what you did there.
So I'm like, well.
I see what you did there. So I don't believe you will ever be strong enough for that, but I do believe that God will make you strong, inshallah, if you just keep praying and you give the glory back to him, which you've always done, from what I've seen. Just remember, Christianity is a God religion from start to finish. God chose you. Christ died for you. The Holy Spirit drew you in. He changed you, and he's going to walk with you until your last breath, and then you're going to get subsumed into that storm. So you don't worry about nothing, bro. Are you going to fuck up in that time? Yep. And when you fuck up, your best friend, the Holy Spirit, will pick you up and tell you, man, stop worrying about that shit. We going here. Or if you got some shit to make up, then go make it up. And you just keep it moving, bro.
He might tell you, don't touch that. Take a Tylenol instead.
Shit, big homie Dan got banned?
What? No, he didn't get banned. How could you see that comment if he got banned?
Let me see. My big homie Dan. Dan's my boy. If you're studying the Bible, you need a translator because some words don't directly correlate. Not really. Most of your modern translations have been translated by extremely reliable sources. I have a Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic interlinear, and it does give me definitely an advantage for sure. But can you get the main points of the story without that stuff? Absolutely. Absolutely. I hate you, Vin. You just make shit harder every time you open your mouth. I think you're being naive if you believe with all the evidence available that shit just happened and there's no design to the universe. I agree. I mean, I don't know how anybody can say that now. But, you know, we still got people holding out, and that's okay. That's all right. I'm not mad at it. Do you think Jesus is disappointed with you? No, I don't think Jesus can be disappointed. He's omniscient. I do think, I know for a fact Jesus wants me to be more patient with you. But I also know that he knows who he's dealing with when he's dealing with me. So, no, if Jesus died for all of my sins, that means that he knew I was so horrible that he'd have to die for them. I don't. It's funny because I say that I'm disappointed. Jesus never says that in the Bible. That's right. He never says like, "Oh, you disappointed me." He's either killing niggas, which is
that's true.
He's killed bunches of people. Go talk to Aslan. You remember Aslan?
Yeah.
Little girl said, "You wouldn't hurt a girl, would you?" And Aslan was like, "What are you talking about? I've eaten whole cities. I've eaten girls, boys, whole countries I've swallowed up. What do you want?" But he never says, "I'm disappointed." I've never disappointed Jesus. I've never disappointed Jesus. But
disappointment comes from having an expectation that is not met. Christ doesn't have expectations for us that won't get met. Like what he knows of us, what he is going to get of us, and that's the long and short, you know. Yeah.
But
he knows the end from the beginning.
that doesn't mean that you don't take it seriously. The other thing, I'm not gonna mention this. God also knows. Here's another reason he's not disappointed me, particularly with the me and you situation, because he also knows what my inclinations are and what I want to do. So he gives me credit for that too. But even terms like gives me credit, that's not what it's about. Like I'm not on that system with him. He's my big brother. He's my father. He's all that, and he's just trying to guide me into doing my part to bring about the kingdom. So he knows he knows that I'm not where I should be, but he also knows I've come a very, very long way. Especially, I've come a long way. Shout out to Cecil. I'm disappointed in myself, so who cares what the universe or God or whatever there thinks of me? Well, I do think it's important to care about what God thinks of you. Because there's certain people I'm not gonna say that. It's important to care about what God thinks of you. I think a lot of us are trying to front load rejection.
Yeah.
So, and I shot this video for another one of my friends. I'll tag you in it, Dan, because you might have missed it. But we actually, I'm not going to say we underestimate ourselves. We underestimate God. We think God's like us. We have so little patience for people, and we have so little patience for ourselves. And most of us, doesn't matter what you try to project on Facebook or whatever, most of us have horrible self-talk. You're not pretty enough when you look in the mirror. You're not this, you're not that. You don't make enough money. You're not cool enough. You're overweight. You're underweight. Your ass isn't big enough. Blah, 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 blah. You can't get this guy to love you. You can't get this girl to love you. All of us have all this horrible self-talk, and you've done that for years and years and years and years and years, and you think that God has that track on you, and he doesn't. David said, countless are your thoughts toward me. Countless. So when, you know, I was listening to this show one time, and this woman was talking about the insecurities that women have, and the light in her bathroom went out, so she had to change it to an LED light. And the LED lights at the time were like high tech and new, and so it was much brighter. I mean, you guys know the difference between like a red, little yellow light and then an LED light. Like, we're in front of an LED right now, so now you're seeing. And she talked about how when she turned on that light and looked in the mirror, she was horrified because that mirror with the brighter light showed her flaws, showed her age. She's like, oh my God, I did not know this. She went outside. She said, I've been looking like this the whole time. You didn't tell me. And her husband was like,
I love your face. Yeah.
The lights did not change her face. She always looked like that. The problem is, the closer you get to light, the more you see your flaws. So one of the ways to know if your heart or your spirit, that dimension, that you're starting to wake up to stuff, is if you start seeing yourself that way. Because what it means, when you start really looking at the shit that you've done and you stop making excuses and stop making justification, that is not native to human nature. We are excuse makers. We've got excuses and justifications for every fucking thing.
Yeah.
She turned me into a demon. So, you know, his friend Whitey got killed. I tell you I love you, I mean it. Whitey got killed, I seen it. Shit's too real, I can't believe it. Shit turned me into a demon. Stop lying, Vaughn. You was killing niggas before that. You killed 2 people before Whitey got killed. They turned you into a demon. You always were a demon. But see, he's too far away from the light, so he truly believes that it was his friend getting killed that turned him into a demon. Because the light isn't showing him, nah, bro, that's you. So what happens with people when they're starting to get spiritually awakened is they start saying, this can't be right because I did this, and that, and I feel terrible about myself. It's like, yeah, that's because the light is coming closer to you. You're actually closer to God than you've ever been. But what happens is I see my flaws, so now I feel like I'm farther than I've ever been. But God says, yeah, I saw all that shit beforehand.
Yep.
I didn't need the lamp. I am the lamp.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And I died for you anyway. So I'm going to take the deal, bro. If the shit is on there, you know, you got to plead out. You know, you commit some crimes, you got to plead right.
It ends up moving you closer to Christ because you see your flaws and you see like where your sins are and stuff, and then you realize like you can't. What are you going to do to save yourself? So the only place that you could go is closer to Him. And then you think about the story where He healed 10 lepers and only one of them came back to thank Him. And it's like that, like the person that's going to say, okay, there's all this shit and He's helped me through this. Well, I'm going to thank Him. Like I can't save myself, but I can certainly go to the one who saved me and thank Him.
Yeah. Yeah. And perhaps your God sent me to be your light. No, it's true. It's true. It's one of the reasons I have You got to be really, really well. If God wants to root out my, I'm not going to say that either. There's a lot of things that's just not wise to say.
Agreed.
And it's not because I want to hide something. It's because I don't want people to get my walk with God. Some of the things about my walk with God are specifically me. Like, of all the people that have ever been in the world, it's specifically a me and him thing. Mm-hmm. And if I were to articulate it, it wouldn't be right. Mm-hmm. It would be, because it would immediately get misinterpreted. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Okay, I think I gave you guys 15 minutes.
I always want to tell you, instead of putting a clock, put a stopwatch, because I'm always curious to know how much it actually.
We'll be having a lot more of these in season 3.
Maybe not from this type of room either.
Yeah.
A lot of possibilities.
A lot of possibilities, dear listener. A lot of possibilities. Much love to all you beautiful people. Shout out to Cornell. Shout out to Sadie. Homie Dan, all the rest of you beautiful people. Got nothing but love for you beautiful people. Good nights, good thoughts. Much love to all you beautiful people. We'll probably see you guys tomorrow. We didn't have the show scheduled. I was like, let's go and hang out with the people.
We have one that's potentially on schedule for tomorrow. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that might happen. That might happen. Mm-hmm. Later, Rich, those songs that you asked for, bruh, I don't know. Eventually, they'll get reviewed, inshallah. I don't know. Much love to all you beautiful people. Perk, send me a text, baby. I haven't heard you in a while. Have you watched Lord of Spirits yet? I wanted to get your take on it. I know you're not a big Eastern Orthodox guy. Later, Free Naturalist. Hey, don't make yourself a stranger, bitch. You got to keep coming around, bruh. Keep coming around. What? What?
Call people a bitch.
Oh.
You're like being nice, don't make yourself a stranger, but call him a bitch.
Alright, Kai. See you later, bitch. JB in this bitch. Look at JB. JB looking like he about to open some portal to some horrible.
Yeah.
What you on, JB?
He's working overtime right now.
Yeah, JB's not playing with y'all. JB's like, listen, man. And then, like, look at his face, y'all.
Oh no.
I'm gonna have JB do my Persec when we out there. Look at that. That's not somebody to play with.
Yep. Don't mess around.
Yeah, we're gonna mess around. Yeah, we'll have. This is a new vid, right?
Look, there's 0 cobalt.
0 cobalt.
Hey.
0 cobalt, man.
Hey,
ain't got nothing.
Uncover
good,
your
bro.
face.
We good. Now this is a new vid.
No.
This is this is a new vid.
No.
What y'all think? We got the remix here.
You can't be a white man.
I'm serious though. I want. Hey, do you have any background in Persec, bro? I gotta have you run. I gotta have you run some Persec for me. You off to work, Kai? Don't worry about it, baby. We'll catch you later. Don't worry. All right, I gotta get out of here. This is my new identity, y'all.
Stop that this instant.
I'm gonna put that in the screen cap.
Come back, Vinny.
It's alive. Once you go black, you never go back.
That's what I'm saying. Put that black man back. Put that black king back on there.
She's actually prettier in real life. Like I get so disappointed with the video. I'm like, man, these people don't really see what I'm dealing with right now, bro. She's prettier in real life, y'all, for real. All right.
More terrifying too, apparently.
Hell yeah. She's strong as fuck. All right, guys.
Anyway,
we out of here.
Go cook some burgers.
Shout out to the big homie 0 Cobalt. Hopefully you're in a better mood, my boy. Later, JB. Later, all you beautiful people. We out of here. Who's Joe Biden? I knew you ain't black.
Well played.
That was good. I put the white dude out there. That was so good. That was, dude. Trump was my favorite. But then when Joe Biden showed up, I was like, all right, it's Joe Biden. We don't see. But, like, I feel like this guy got Joe Biden better than the Trump guy got Trump. Unless they're the same person, which is very, very possible.
I've been saying they're the same person.
But every time I see that, I always hear that in that voice. Come on, man.
Yeah, Kai, do that.
Oh, we got some paintings coming from Kai.
He sent a light one of his daughter, her face. They did like a light painting mixed with her face. I didn't show you.
You didn't show me. What the hell is wrong with you?
I didn't. I'm so sorry, babe.
It shows you that we're not really friends. Okay, Perk. So me and you, good. Tonight, me and you will talk about Lord of Spirits. Good.
He's been listening?
Well, he owns one of DeYoung's books. You know DeYoung is the smart one.
The smart one.
I really don't know what the other guy's doing. No. It's DeYoung and then Father something.
Father Andrew.
Damick, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I shouldn't say that because I'm probably gonna get them boys in an interview. I don't want him looking.
It's like your B to his to your A.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh.
We're gonna get the Lord of Spirits guy on the podcast. We're gonna like it.
There was like one time where
Stephen Damick, yeah.
There was like one time where they were having like this issue with the call kept dropping.
Yeah.
And
they said it was Shaitan.
He sounded
like
me when you're like, okay, take over, start talking to the people.
Yeah.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
We're a media company, man. We're a media company.
I've been doing better with it
and
now.
You can't fill 3 minutes a day, or we've been doing this shit for like 6-7 years.
Yeah, I've been doing it better now. Now I have myself a little funny video on the side that I can.
Yeah, you don't think that I know you just spelled mayonnaise backwards, you evil bitch.
Oh no! You know what, Tina? It worked for me. I was like, oh, we got some, what's like Latin or what's happening?
Yeah, I should have.
You should have asked me to be announced.
Yeah, I should have done that. I should have like. Oh yeah,
me?
Yeah, because that would have been. I would have said something. Oh, it's Latin for Lord of Spirits or something like that.
I would have absolutely gone out.
I'd have had you going in there, and then she would have been like, "It's mayonnaise."
Yeah, and I don't have Ian in here to defend me.
Dumb butt. Yeah,
He's like, how dare you do that to her in public?
Yeah. Ian's always there to defend someone. You remember back in the day? In the comment section, oh, sorry, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I know. But now people have been around long enough, so now they love you. Yeah, so now they're like, oh, well, she probably gets
nobody
it.
feels sorry for you anymore.
Nope. Fuck that bitch.
Ain't no white woman in distress.
Nope.
All right, guys, for real, this is the 5th time I said it. This is like, I told you, we're going back to old school. Remember this? Some of y'all, I'm like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out. Right. We never leave. All right, no, we're really leaving now. Goodbye. Been out.
Sorry, out.
Down.